Hello, this is Nate, also known as Cajun Knight, here on Rogue Deck Builder. You may know me from the EDH series that Sith Lord has started, or not, because, well, a lot of people hate Sith Lord for some reason. But anyways, I have a standard deck here for you today. It's a green-black deck, as you can probably tell. First we'll go over the lands. I have 4 Guild Gates, 4 Overgrown Tombs, 11 Swamps, 3 Forests. Pretty standard, heavy black, green-black mana dice. I may be adding another land pretty soon. I had to figure out what I'm going to cut, but 22 lands seems low, but we also have ways to fetch lands and ways to search for lands, so I think 22 is a good number. Let me know in the comments if you think I should have more or less or whatever. Please, I'm very open to suggestions, trust me. I need to do a lot more testing with this, and I haven't had time. Anyways, moving on. Our main game plan is to Immortal Servitude for 3 mana. Now that's a lot more than 1 or 2, which is what Kevin usually does. And in order to facilitate that, we have a few ways that really is a bit different than what Kevin usually does. Anyways. The reason I do it for 3 is because of this card, which is Mogus's Marauder. When he enters the battlefield, basically in this deck, all your creatures gain haste and intimidate. And what you do is you Immortal Servitude for 3, and you bring back all of your 3-drops, which is going to be probably like 2 Mogus's Marauders, 2 Dragmanglers, like a Dead Reveler, and a Blood Baron. And then you just kill them, because that right there is, what, 10, 15 damage, and by that point in the game where you're at 6, they're going to have lost some life, either to shock lands or you attacking them, and basically if that doesn't kill them, then you just have a whole bunch of creatures out in the field and you could just grind them out slowly. That's the main premise of the deck. So for our 3-drops, we have obviously Mogus's Marauder, Dragmangler, it's a 3/3 haster for 3. Can't go wrong there. He usually gets a few points in early, and he closes out the game because he does 3 damage, obviously, late. And we have a Dead Reveler, which I'll go over why this isn't another card in a bit. But, yep, we have Dead Revelers. There are 3/4s, usually, pretty much all the time. And we have Blood Barons, which, again, seems weird, but I actually really like this card in this deck because it allows you to get your guys in your yard again, so you can either Immortal Servitude and do the Mogus's Marauder trick again, or sacrifice your Grey Merchants and Immortal Servitude for 8 later in the game, which is really good. You basically just win at that point. For real. I'm not just Immortal Servituding for 3 and hoping to win. So, moving on to our enablers, we have 4 Drown in Filth, 4 Grizzly Salvage, which Drown in Filth serves double duty because it also removes their creatures, and the Grizzly Salvages also serve double duty because they get us lands. They get us the lands, which is why I only have 22 again. I'm not going to cut any of these. These are going to stay in for sure. I thought about putting in Commune with the Gods, but the problem is we don't have any enchantments to fetch, and the creatures we're looking to get, we want it in the yard, not in our hand. That's pretty much the reason why we don't run Commune with the Gods. For our searchers and like cards that dig, we have Read the Bones, which is probably one of the best black cards out of Theros. My personal favorite black card out of Theros. Like, I love this card. And it suits my playstyle a lot. It's pretty risky, but really gets the job done, really gets you deep into your deck and gets you there most of the time. And we also have Gerard's Orders, which is a weird card. A lot of people who are like, what the fuck, Gerard's Orders? Like, what are you doing with yourself? But the reason I have Gerard's Orders in here is because, well, one, because it gets a guy in our yard, and it gets a guy in our hand, which you may be like, you just say you don't want guys in your hand, but the fact that it also always gets a guy in your yard that you always want. So I always want to put a Mogus's Marauder in my graveyard, or when I already have one, I want to put a Dragmangler in my graveyard. and at the same time, I can go get a Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which going 4-drop Gerard's orders or 3-drop Gerard's orders into Grey Merchant of Asphodel is a sick curve, and usually will lead it into an Immortal Servitude in the next couple turns. This is one card I could consider cutting, but I'd rather keep them in because every time I've cast them, it's just been so much value and so good. Like, no joke. This card is the real deal in this deck. I was looking for a deck to make this card work, and I think this is it. It's not quite what they had in mind, because they were looking for, you put a scavenge card in the yard, and you scavenge onto the card that you searched in your hand, but I really think that this is where it shines, where you want to have a separate card in your hand than the one in your graveyard, which the one in your graveyard is also a combo piece with the one in your hand. It's really just, it's like a double tutor. It's amazing. For our removal, aside from John Filth, we have 2 Doomblades, 2 Devour Flash, 2 Gaze of Granite. The Devour Flesh and Doomblade pretty standard. Devour Flesh serves double duty as well because you can sacrifice your own guys. You can either make a huge Bloodbane and sacrifice Devour Flesh, gain a whole bunch of life. You can just sacrifice your Unleashed Dead Revelers, your Grey Merchants, gain a whole bunch of life that way. And we have Gaze of Granite, and this card is really good against the standard decks that are popular right now. So many of you know Mono Blue Devotion is hugely popular on Moto and probably in paper as well. I'm not too familiar with my standard metagame locally, but I'm sure that a lot of people have been picking up Mono Blue Devotion, and this card just totally wrecks Mono Blue Devotion. They play a bunch of 1-drops and crappy 2-drops, and their crappy 2-drops... In general, this deck is really good against Mono Blue Devotion. Their 1-drops and crappy 2-drops die to the Gaze of Granite and get blocked by all of our cards, and all of their Master of Waves tokens get killed by the Gaze of Granite, and the Master themselves get killed by basically all of our removal spells, except for Devour Flesh, which will side out pretty much every time. And yeah, this card is really good too. I'm surprised that it's not seeing more play, honestly, because it really is really good right now. It's really slow, but that's fine because we're playing black and we want to just grind out the game. That's generally why I think this card is underplayed right now. Though green-black as a color combination is probably underplayed too. But so our last main board card, we have Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which we already talked about a little bit. So this card really, its main job is to just gain us some life and stabilize us on the board, and if we've already Immortal Servitude, obviously we just drain them out and kill them. Or if we get to 8 mana, we can always Immortal Servitude for 5 and get back a whole bunch of Grey Merchants and just kill them then. Because if you Grey Merchant, or if you Immortal Servitude for 5 and get back 3 Grey Merchants, you just win. It's 18 damage, and yeah. Like, they're going to have taken 2 damage at some point in the game, and you just kill them. So let's talk a little bit for our sideboard. We have 2 Underworld Connections, 2 Gaze of Granite, 2 Down Dirties, 2 Dark Betrayals, 3 Duress, 2 Devour Flesh, 2 Stab Wound. And again, many of these cards are like, why the hell is he playing these cards? And again, we'll go over that in a minute. So 2 Underworld Connections. We have, this is for control matchup. I'll pretty much always play this card against control because, well, it's just card advantage that they really don't interact with at all. Like, they don't care about your life total, and you don't care about your life total against control. And yeah, this card is really good against control. That's about it. We have more Gaze of Granites, which again, this is probably going overboard, but I really like this card, and since Mono Blue Devotion is so popular, I usually just side out the Devour Flesh, put in 2 more Gaze of Granite, and just call it a day. Like, they can't even stop one Gaze of Granite, let alone two. Um, we have two down dirties again against Control because I feel like Control is probably our worst matchup. So you may this card is like a weird choice probably for a lot of you, but it's basically two more copies of this, and it also gives you card advantage with down sometimes. Like you can down them, or you can dirty back your Immortal Servitude, or whatever card you need. Like I'm a bit iffy on this card, but we'll talk about why in a minute. Again, we have two Dark Betrayals generally against black decks because we have Doom Blades. We'll just take out the Doom Blades and put in Dark Betrayals, and it's generally a better card. Obviously, it's 1 mana against the heavy black decks. We have 3 Duress, which probably should be Thoughtseize, and I guess I'll get to it now. This is actually a budget list. The entire list is under 25 tickets, which is the reason I'm making this video to begin with. I kind of was asked by Sith Lord to make a budget list and submit it to the Rogue Deck Builder contest, which is the reason I'm making this video, and I actually think that this deck has potential. Obviously, these Duress would be thoughts. If I was to make it a real deck, these Duresses would be Thoughtseizes. These Dead Revelers would be Lifebane Zombies, and the whole deck would be another 60 ticks. But right now it's under 25, and it's been performing really well for me. I've been able to beat a lot of standard decks that people would think that, how the hell are you beating this? Like, this deck won the Pro Tour, but, well, my green-black crappy junk deck is killing them. Well, not junk. Golgari deck is killing their mono blue Devotion. I spent 200 ticks on this. We have 2 more Devour Flash and 2 Stab Wounds. The Devour Flashes are really good against the mid-range decks that are out right now. Generally, they'll have like the Hexproof Sylvan Caryatid, and the Devour Flash is really your only way to kill that, aside from Gaze of Granite, but by that time you're just screwed anyways, because they already have 1,000,000 mana, and they're already playing Pelucanos and killing you anyways. So, yeah, our matchup is against both Mono Blue Ocean and Red-Green Midrange are pretty good with this deck. But Devour Flash against Red-Green Midrange just seals the deal, because it blanks their Caryatids generally, and that's one of their best cards. And the Stab Wounds are pretty much for the I can't think of the card right now. It's one of the cards Mono Blue Devotion has. It's Nightveil Spectre. That's it. Yeah. So it's a 2/3 flyer, and you put Stab Wound on it. It becomes an 0/1 flyer, and you're not even attacking anyways. And you really don't care. Like, the only time you're attacking is when you're gonna kill them. So you don't care that their 0/1 flyer can jump you. And that makes this card really good against those decks, because and it's also good against Thassa too, because you just put it on the Thassa and it sits there, and they take 2 every turn if they want to keep it a creature. And yeah, it makes them attack for 2 less. I think this card is very undervalued right now, although again, it's probably just a pet card of mine. So we'll try this out and see how it goes in Standard.